Would you mind telling me whose brain I did put in?
And you won't be angry?
I will not be angry.
Abbey someone.
Abby someone. Abby who?
Abbey normal.
This is the Abbey Normal Podcast, here to tell you that you're weird, and that's normal. I had lunch with a friend last week who asked me, why would you do 4 episodes about a wedding? Now, she's a caring and loyal friend who also gives critical feedback on your life every time you hang out, so it's all good. I'm used to this tone. And the first answer is that I love my friend who got married. But that's not complete. You don't hear every detail of the lives of all the people I love. You're welcome. So the deeper answer is that I feel like we can have a lot of weird feelings around engagement and weddings, and hearing some less traditional stories normalizes a few things. Like that it's okay to not have been married before 40 or whatever age deadline is in your brain. It's normal to want to be married and have your partner be not so sure, or vice versa. When you're planning a wedding, your feelings might not match what you think they should be. This list could go on and on, right? It's okay to not be married. So as I answered my lunch friend's question, it got me thinking about my disdain for the wedding industry in general. I got riled up remembering all the pressures. Vicky expressed some of those expectations in part 2, the grow up, of our most recent series about her wedding. When I got married, I definitely wanted to buck all the weird traditions and expectations. I didn't understand them, and I didn't understand why everything was so frickin' expensive and also generic and boring. So today we're going to get some answers. Not all of them. We're going to focus on wedding attire and personal presentation. It's only a little slice, but when you strip away all the dumb details, this is really what we care about most. How good do I look? Because everyone I know is going to be staring at me for a long time. My friend Crystal has been working in the wedding industry for many years as a makeup artist, lashist, and now as a bridal salon owner. She's got the inside scoop on where folks would like to see the industry go.
Everybody should be who they are for their wedding. Your dress or pantsuit or tux or whatever it is you're having made for you or that you're purchasing, like it should be exactly what your personality is.
She also provides some insights into selecting a makeup or lashing artist, stuff I had no idea about before this conversation.
I do take my lashing job very serious because you're dealing with somebody's eyeball.
Right.
You're dealing with incredibly sharp instruments on somebody's eye. You're dealing with a super glue. There's so many elements to something going wrong just within those things.
We're going to start with how Crystal got into this and worked her way up in expertise and financial stability in the industry. It wasn't personal experience.
For me, I've never been married. I mean, you know me. I've never been married. I've always had like boyfriends. And I am like the SPCA for men. Like I bring them in and like groom them and get them ready and then they go to the forever home. Like that's my place in life, I feel like.
It was the necessity of broadening your skill set because the wedding season can't sustain you when you first start out.
Really, in this industry, you have to have a few pokers in the fire. So where you're getting hired for weddings during the wedding season, on your off time, you have to find things that are going to like sustain you financially for that. So that's where the lashing and then some of the fashion stuff, came in.
So it all started with Crystal's passion.
I've always loved makeup. I mean, even in high school, I was always like doing nails and makeup and stuff. And so it always just kind of stayed with that. And then I got into it a little bit more once Sloan was born, actually. I kind of dove into it full time just because I wanted a job that kept my schedule open so I could be kind of like a full-time mom. And so I went back to school, got my esthetician's license.
Sloan is Crystal's son.
Kind of rewind a little bit. Back in 2008, a partner and I had a beautiful warehouse in downtown Portland that overlooked the waterfront. And I did dive into doing wedding coordinating during that time. I loved it. And I did my makeup and stuff there for that. So
okay, cool.
We lived in, it was like 32,000 square feet. So it was a huge warehouse that was revamped into an urban art studio space that people loved because we had graffiti artists coming in and doing murals. We had musicians. We had a recording artist. I had my makeup space, and then we had an in-house photographer and videographer in there too. So it was like we could include everything in a package for weddings.
Right.
You know, and the people we dealt with who got married there were so fun because they were people who were like outside the box of like your normal everyday wedding. It was,
right.
You know, it was urban funk. So it was like really cool people with really cool ideas. You know, I kind of thrived off of it not being so proper.
They were already kind of outside of the box people looking for an event space that would be like non-traditional. Yeah.
100%. But we were dating, and so as dating happens, we broke up. That's kind of what drove me into getting into makeup full time.
So her coordinator gig concluded, but she kept doing the makeup thing, keeping up with trends, and then had a new opportunity that paired two of her passions.
My dear friend Angela had gone to cosmetology school and had moved her way up through the fashion industry and knew that I was licensed and reached back and just said, I'd like to have you come do some of these things with me, and then brought me into the Portland fashion family. And then I went to school and got my lashing certificate, and then would travel up to Portland almost every month for 2 weeks out of the month for, goodness, almost 3 years, and just deep dove into fashion. I absolutely loved it. And I loved the fact that Sloan could travel with me. He could go with me to photo shoots. I could kind of incorporate like my life into what my work was. Yeah, I just really I loved it. I loved that work, and I loved the people that I got to work with, from the models to the photographers. They are so vibrant and beautiful. It's just such beautiful people. And the one thing I loved about them so much is they were so supportive and encouraging of what I was doing, and they really appreciated what I did. So it made the work that, a little bit more exciting because they really believed in me. So we had to do photo shoots for bridal designers as well. So we were already doing bridal type makeup to build up that portfolio, along with like our more artistic makeup that was being done for, our fashion designers that were just designing like their suits and clothes and things of that nature.
Right.
For me, the fashion industry allowed me to hone in and focus more on my like makeup art. So it put me in a position to be able to do makeup in a way that brides would want to hire me to do it, because my portfolio and all the pictures and things that I had was impressive to a bride who was just hiring, like a lot of brides were hiring girls like off Facebook, like, let me do your makeup for $50.
Right. She was gaining confidence and building her makeup portfolio in the fashion world. And then her mom shoved her right out of her comfort zone.
For my first year of being in the makeup industry, for my birthday, she bought me a booth at a wedding show in Visalia. And
oh my God, that is so sweet.
It was so sweet. And I was so mad.
Why?
Because at the time I didn't see what other people could see. So for me, it was like, oh my gosh, I'm at a wedding show. Like, I have a booth. What am I going to do? How does this even work?
Yeah.
It was so out of like my element. It was an uncomfortable space to be in. And my mom's like, you're going to do fine. You have 2 weeks. I'm like, oh my. So I did. I got a model that I was working with. And so her and her cousin came, and they were my models. I did their makeup there and talked to people, and had this booth. And it's so funny. I found the pictures the other day of my first booth. It was so generic. It was so cute. And so, and so I was like, I can do this. And so people liked my work. And then, and Angela kept me busy with things in Portland. And I thought, I can do this. So then I started charging a lot more for things, and really like putting my nose to the grindstone and taking classes and just paying attention to what was going on in the wedding world, and then dove into bridal makeup along with fashion makeup, because they all kind of go hand in hand in some manner.
She started getting more clients and really had to hone her business approach, balancing hard decisions about supporting herself and her son and creating a customer experience that she's proud of.
So when I started doing makeup, I was the girl who would like drive to you for $50 and then realized once daycare was taken care of and gas, I made no money. I was like,
Right.
this isn't going to work, you know?
Yeah.
Plus, on top of everything else, you have to build your kit depending on the type of makeup you're using. So the kits are very expensive to put together as well. And I've always been the person who always thought like everybody, no matter what their budget is, like should look and feel great. Like you should always have like a full service experience, even on a short budget. And so I always tried to figure out how to make the two work. And it was really difficult for a lot of time. And so once I got into doing professional makeup as far as like fashion industry makeup, you know, I had like this beautiful family of like other makeup artists who had been doing this for a lot longer than I had. And, you know, and they just told me like, Crystal, you're not going to be able to sustain yourself with your prices. Like you need to bring your prices up. You now have this portfolio. You're now a lot quicker where you can do like your makeup and instead of using airbrush, like you know how to use your brushes well enough that you can give an airbrush look within a 45-minute time frame. Like you need to be charging for that because all of your money you're putting into your schooling and you're traveling to do these things, it has to make sense somewhere or you're never going to like make money.
She still struggles with this, and you'll hear more about that later. But she took their advice and raised her prices to match her level of experience and expertise. Now, I know next to nothing about makeup in general, but when I started to complain to Crystal about wedding makeup specifically, she dropped some serious knowledge on me.
Really, when brides are looking for a makeup artist, they should be looking for the makeup artist who does have the experience with photo finish photography.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you have a good makeup artist and a good photographer, you're going to have phenomenal pictures.
Right.
They just go hand in hand. And so...
Yeah, well, you know what? I kind of like to just pause you there for a second because I think that that's a thing that I had never thought about until right this moment. Because I feel like I've gotten my makeup done for weddings and it's been like way too much. And I feel so awkward and I feel like a freak because it's not my normal makeup. But I think that that's a good point that like you're also doing your makeup for your photos and that requires a specific look to look hella good in your photos, you know, which is kind of like different than real life.
It is. But also in saying that, like, I think as a makeup artist too, is that if you've never worked with a good photographer in your career, if you've not had the opportunity to have a photographer like guide you in your makeup career, it's a huge disadvantage to you and to people you're doing makeup for because like I have one photographer, his name's Tom, he's out of Portland. He's I can't say enough kind things about Tom. Like Tom is everything to me in my career. I like get emotional thinking about him. Like he brought me from being a good makeup artist to being a phenomenal makeup artist. He taught me not even anything about makeup, but the way lighting hits, the way photography goes, you know, certain movements and certain things you need to look at, like with your strokes and your brushes and colors. And, you know, there's so much more that goes into like the makeup portion of it than just like, can you do a good cat eye? You know, like,
right.
There's a lot more that goes into that, as silly as it sounds. You know, but I feel like everybody, you know, and like I wear heavy makeup. I do like a full glam look. That's my signature thing. But that doesn't mean that everybody else is going to look good in the makeup I look good in. I look good in that because that's me. But that doesn't mean that like I would ever do my makeup on you the way I do my own makeup.
Right.
Because it's not going to look good on you. That's not a style that like, it's going to make you feel funny. And I think sometimes the makeup artists forget that. Like we're all so used to certain things that you have to be very versatile in skin and a look and the way somebody feels in it. That's why like trial runs are so important. Because they're really not meant to be done the day before the wedding. They're meant to be done a couple, like at least, I would say even like 2 weeks before the wedding. And to have like a really good, like 2-hour prep time, only because you can go through every look you're wanting to do. You can try a couple different looks because on the day of the wedding, what you don't want is someone like, I don't like the way this looks to me now. You got to change everything. That throws a wrench in the entire day. So like your trial runs, talk to your makeup artist about what you do and don't like and have that communication with that person. And honestly, I always think it's important for your makeup artist to meet your photographer because they need to talk to each other about how this person does photography, how they use lighting, what type of lighting are they using, and kind of be able to, as a makeup artist, be able to understand like, okay, so this is the kind of makeup I need to use. Because the truth is that even simple makeup for girls who don't wear makeup are still going to have makeup on in order to get that full finished look.
Right,
so
right.
It might feel a little thick, but that's really purely for photography. So I think that those things are always really important to remember because I think people kind of forget.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Like I love my photographers and I love being able to sit and listen to other photographers because, if we haven't worked with a certain photographer who does things a certain type of way, it's a learning experience for us as well. Like that's why if there's a way to set up for your trial run and to have your photographer there so that way you guys can, you can do your makeup, they can take some pictures, you guys can look it over. It's good to kind of get some feedback off of your photographer, like how does this makeup look? How does her foundation look? Does it look flawless? Make sure skin matching's going on, all of that stuff. It'll save a bride a lot of chaos at the end of the day.
Right, totally. That was brand new info. The relationship between makeup artists and photographers, the purpose of a trial run with makeup and possibly your photographer, which totally makes sense now. So Crystal also does lashing, which again, I've never had done. Here's how it connected with her wedding work.
There's a season. Wedding is a season. So where you're getting hired for weddings during the wedding season, on your off time, you have to find things that are going to like sustain you financially for that. So that's where the lashing and then some of the fashion stuff came in because
so
I know many makeup artists who are working like their business as makeup artists, but also working other things to keep, that going for themselves as well.
For the benefit of those who are ignorant, Crystal is going to explain all about lashing and her guidance for those into lashes.
I think almost all women in some form or, like understand the lashing addiction that there has become of 2023 now. Lashing is temporary lash extensions. For instance, classic lashing is one lash extension to one natural lash, which is used with an adhesive, much like super glue. And then hybrids is a mixture of your classic and your volume lashes. And then volumes are just that. It's a lash that's anywhere between 2 to, I think I've seen like 16 or 17 like lashes per one lash.
Whoa,
so
dude.
That's where they just like, yeah. And that's a little, in my opinion, I'll never hate on anybody's work, but I feel like that's too much. That's a bit much. I mean, like there's like some serious like lash no-nos going on in the world.
Have you seen the video? I think it's Ice-T's wife, Coco, and she's like in a convertible and her lashes are like blowing in the wind. And she can't even like open her eyes, right? Because the lashes are blowing, but the lashes stay on despite the wind. Like that's the magic of them.
Isn't that amazing?
I'll send it to you. It's hilarious.
Yeah. Your eyes have got to be so heavy because what people don't realize is like those weigh something. I mean, I don't want to stick my foot in my mouth. However, I feel as though the lashing situation got way out of hand at some point. Like I like to lash. I like a more natural looking lash. I will do full volumes, but I do my volumes in a way that they look dramatic, but they look natural.
Mm-hmm.
I will not at all take any clients who want like these, like, I call them stoner lashes because like your eye is so heavy, like you can't open your eye. And some of these girls, I can't even see their pupil. I'm like, what is the color of your eye? Like all I see is like blackness. It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
And what people don't realize is that it's dangerous. Just flat out, it's dangerous. It's dangerous for your muscle in your eye. It's dangerous for your lashes themselves. Much like eyebrow tweezing, like back in the 90s, how we like to pluck the hell out of our eyebrows and then they never grew. Like I'm still desperately trying to grow my eyebrows back from the 90s.
Yes.
It's probably never going to happen because the reality is you can only damage the follicle of where that hair comes from so many times until it's like a done deal. It's not coming back. Well, your lashes are the same way. So, you know, if you have such heavy weight on your lashes and your lashes are falling out at an unnatural pace, eventually they're not going to grow back. Like, that's the problem.
Yeah.
It's also a problem when like the muscles in your eyes are used to like trying to hold up these huge wind barriers on your eyeballs. And, you know, after a while, like you can actually damage your eye pretty bad. And I charge what I charge because I've been doing this for a long time. I also like went back and I got my certification to become an educator. So I own a school to teach lashing. And so I do take my lashing job very serious because you're dealing with somebody's eyeball. Like,
right.
You're dealing with incredibly sharp instruments on somebody's eye. You're dealing with a super glue. There's so many elements to something going wrong just within those things that I feel like you as a consumer should take the time to look into what's going on when you're having something attached to your eyelash that's connected to your eye. Like, you know, like,
Thank you. That is like such good information.
They absolutely have to be technically by law licensed as an esthetician or a cosmetologist. So that's usually the first thing I tell people when you're looking for a lash artist. Make sure they're at least licensed, please. I mean, I've had girls call me who have been referred to me who have told me, like, I went to this person. I don't know what they did, but can you please look at my lashes and help me out? Where people have put like hair weave glue on people's eyelashes, or they have put like super glue on people's like things that are just absurd.
Crystal, I want you to know that for my birthday, I would let you do my lashes.
I would love to do your lashes.
I've never had them done before.
They're amazing. They're so amazing. If I could trust somebody to do my lashes and I didn't have like allergies from hell, I would totally get I'm just not a good candidate for lash extensions. And it's really sad because every day I find myself like gluing strip lashes on, and it's so infuriating.
Do you wear them every day?
Now that I've moved to Cambria, no.
But you used to.
Yeah. Yeah, always with my lash extensions. Because for a while I couldn't see myself without them. I would take them off. I'm like, oh, who are you? Like, I don't even like you. Like, oof. Like, this bitch is really ugly. Like, you need to get rid of her fast. It was part of who I am. Like, right. I've been wearing fake lashes since I was like, 19.
Right. Oh
you know,
my God. Well, you can pull them off. Like your coloring is darker, like your hair, like lashes like go with the whole thing. I'm like a freaking baby rat or something. I'm like so hairless. I can't do it.
But you know what? If you were to have done it, like always had it done, you wouldn't know any different.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it would just become a part of it. Because I have some girlfriends who are like beautiful, like white girls who like full glam, like lash strip, the whole bit. And so I think it just becomes a part of you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I watch all those shows. Like, have you watched that show, Love is Blind?
Oh my God.
Okay.
Terrible.
It's so terrible, but also I enjoy watching it. And it's not just this show, it's all the shows, right? But like it'll be this tiny little totally blonde girl, and then she'll have these like giant black eyelashes. And I'm like, why are you trying to play? You have like 4 blonde eyelashes. Like your eyelashes do not look like that. So it's very distracting to me, but I'm trying to like let it go, because the lashes are all in style right now. So
it is. And what's so funny is 4 years ago, so I was like, I don't know if I want to keep doing this. I don't know. Where's this industry going? But again, it was kind of like, I love the fact that they were so excited to feel so pretty.
Yeah.
Because out of anything, that's my biggest thing in my industry, like to make people who may not maybe necessarily always feel beautiful about themselves, like to feel beautiful about themselves.
Crystal genuinely enjoys helping women feel beautiful, which is all about how they envision makeup and lashes, and not at all about what other people think. And Crystal has seen this feeling do wonders.
Girl, I am telling you, I have donated time to women's abuse shelters, homeless shelters, A lot of women are either out of the prison system, working towards getting their kids back. So they have to like do all of these classes in order to be able to get a job. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember like helping this set of women. They were so sweet. So I taught them like, okay, this is how you pair clothes together. This is how you pair shoes. I'm going to teach you guys how to do makeup. I like prepared for all of them a makeup kit and like color tested their skin. So they had their own foundations, like the whole thing. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so sweet to see like women that you knew had been through literal hell and to put their makeup on them and then put clothes on them and just to see like the instant confidence that they gained.
Right.
And I told some of them like, I will give your first set of lashes like for free just to get you going.
Mm-hmm.
And I did some of them. And some of them ended up getting jobs. I mean, this one girl, she was so sweet. She got a job at Subway and she came back to me for fills. And I thought like, no, I still want to be able to like have those people who are clients to me. You know what I mean? Like, it's not always just about the money. It's also about like how you're like kind of giving it back and paying it forward and like making another woman feel just so confident about who they are, and reassuring that and that they're still beautiful. Like, I feel like all of it kind of at some point becomes like a lifestyle. It makes you want to have more, pushes you to like take those next steps that you need to have, in order to like accomplish like what you need to accomplish because makeup amazing. Like can really do wonders sometimes for you. It's it is. It's absolutely wonderful to watch people change in that manner. It's what like made my heart feel good. It made me feel like I wasn't just a makeup artist, like beauty school dropout, like kind of girl. It was like, no, this actually serves a purpose in some manner of giving back to the women who didn't necessarily ever have this experience or, weren't able to do these things for themselves.
Crystal still does some makeup and lashing, but over the past year, most of her time has been invested into her brand new bridal salon in Cambria, California. The way she describes her approach with clients is so drastically different than big box bridal stores.
Our whole mission is with our store and with our designer. Like, you're not a number. You are our bride. You are somebody that we are so incredibly enthusiastic to be like a part of your special moment. Like, you've chosen us to like have us create something that's so special for you on this day. And I like that. It becomes very personable. I make friends with my brides. They're not just my brides and just clients. They actually become friends. They're people who call me like while they're going through this wedding process and they're like, I can't take this. Like,
yeah,
can I just talk to you? I'm like, let's talk. What's going on? Like, let's work this out together so you're not like blowing up on somebody within your family. Like, like let's save face with the moms and the fiance, because sometimes it's just overwhelming. There's a lot of money going out. There's a lot of emotion. There's a lot of opinions. Yep. Opinions suck. It's a very overwhelming time. As much as it should be like fun, the reality is a lot of people within this industry don't make it fun. It's usually about the almighty dollar, which is really hard. I think it's easy to lose sight on like the fact that this is somebody's really special day, not just a way that you're making like money off of it as well.
Right.
I mean, I'm so funny. I mean, like when people come into our shop, like I sit on the floor, like once we're all done trying dresses on and we're down to like those last dresses and I'll sit on the floor with them. Like, okay, let's chit chat. Like, what's going on? What are our thoughts? Like, where are we at with these things? Do we need some time to think? Do we need to come back? A lot of them bring their kids with them. My one bride he's 8 or 9 months old. He's the cutest little boy in the world. So I like sat on the floor with them. She had to take time to breastfeed. So I like put her in the sitting room and set it all up so they can breastfeed and have their moment. And for me, this is like hanging out with my girlfriends in some ways. Like, I love these girls. Like, they are special to me.
Yeah.
And so
I feel like it's important to say like that you do have brides in the store that are pregnant or have children or are older in life. Like, and all of them can be beautiful, happy brides.
Yeah, I have one bride. I love her. She like walked out of a 1950s movie. She's so cute and sweet. She's 72 and fell in love. it's just like these stories you hear about people, and how it's kind of sad to hear some of the stories. There are women whose husbands have passed away, and some things that just don't work out, but they've found love again and they do have kids, or they're merging families together. And
Yeah.
it is very sweet to see that, no matter what the situation is, love just kind of finds itself in just such funny and precarious situations. And then these people come together and they're like, we're going to make this work, damn it. And our kids are all going to get along. So let's go, It's
Yeah, I love that.
and I do too, and I have my traditional brides who have never been married, just out of college, have their boyfriend, and they're just now joining together, that their careers have started. And I love that too. I like that nothing is consistent in my job. But more than anything, I think I like that, you get to meet some women that honestly I never would have known, but I end up getting to meet some women who are really amazing, who are doing some amazing things with themselves. And
Yeah.
for me, it's just kind of I love the social aspect of my job as well.
Right.
But I also like when the dress is done and designed and they put that dress on, it's this is my dress. And, that's something they designed. And I never remake any dresses we have for anybody else. That is their dress. It's named after them. And that's their gown forever.
Aw.
It's a very sweet thing.
Crystal has an in-house designer, Megan.
Nothing can compare to what she's doing. No one can touch what she's doing, really.
Here's what their process looks like to get exactly what you want.
People send me their Pinterest inspirations. We go through those things. And then normally what we would do is have a video chat with Megan, because Megan's in Scottsdale. And we sit and talk with our clients as to what they're looking for. So she'll put a sketch together, we put fabrics together, and then kind of go from there. So that's why right now, we are working on getting the jumpsuits in. So then that way, now that we'll carry things in-house that people can actually try on, and that's tangible to feel and look and see. As far as fabrics and things of that nature, I have all of that in-house that they can see the fabrics. I have swatches that show all the colors that we do.
She mentioned jumpsuits as an option, which got me all excited. I wanted to know more about what I'm terming Alterna-Brides. Of course, this runs the whole gamut, but as an example, I had to hunt for a short vintage-style wedding dress. What is her experience with folks who want a bold look, or purposefully buck the current fashion trends, or just something different?
Oh yeah, I love my non-traditional brides. They're okay, I love all my brides, but my non-traditional brides truly are kick-ass. They are so outside the box. We have so much fun because with us, it's not just coming in, trying on a dress that 10 other girls are going to have and buying that dress. You get to fully customize anything you want. If you don't find anything and you want to sit down and talk about customizations, we can do that. So last year, we did about 35 black wedding dresses.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah. And not just black wedding dresses with with veils. I'm talking wings. We have these beautiful detachable wings that go on the back of a dress. We have capes. A lot of women have gone away from the traditional tiered veil where the husband has to reveal you and kiss you and all this stuff. It's women are very empowered in what they're doing right now. And so color is phenomenal. We have so many different colors and designs. The one demographic I think of brides that has really never been catered to is my tattoo brides. I'm a girl who has tattoos. I'm not as tattooed as I would like to be, but I have enough of them to know that if it were to ever happen that I got married, I have pretty art. I would like for it to be shown off. And it was so funny. We were at the beach the other day and there were these older women there, and this lady was talking. She's like, "Oh, what do you live here?" Yeah. She's like, "What do you do?" I said, "I have a bridal store in town." And she's like, "That's amazing." And she's like, "So tell me about your birthday." I was telling her, and so I was like, "It's so great. We have so many brides who want color in their gowns now." And it's so much fun. And she goes, "Oh," and she goes, "Do you get tattooed brides?" And I said, "Oh yeah." And before I could say anything else, she said, "I bet it's hard to cover all that stuff up on their arms." And at that time was when I was going to take the blanket off my arm. I was like, "I'll just leave it right here." A, I didn't want her to feel silly for saying it. B, I didn't know that she would feel silly for saying it, and then I would just feel stupid standing there with tattoos. But there's such this misconception that like tattooed brides are so taboo, and I just disagree so much on that, because I don't think people realize how expensive tattoos are, and like what goes into picking a tattoo artist. You know, some girls have tattoos that have meaning. Some girls have tattoos just because they look beautiful on their skin. So it's just a really funny thing to hear the taboo. But like, I love my non-traditional brides. I mean, they really make my job so much fun. I talk almost every bride we have out of white. I'm like, there's no reason to wear white. This isn't 1970s. Let's face it, none of us are really virgins. You know, the whole idea of like this dark white dress is really, it's frustrating, because what people don't realize, I tell all my brides, nobody looks good in white. The reality.
No.
Pure white is not okay. If you are a white girl, it's not okay. If you are a girl who has olive tone skin or who's even black, like, you are not going to look good in white. There's blue undertones to it, so your dress almost looks blue. So if you're any of these ethnicities, of any of these undertones you have, your skin is going to look washed out. So it doesn't matter how good your makeup artist is and how good your photographer is. You have a stark white dress on, man, just go away with it. But like, ivory is beautiful, because ivory has these really pretty, good ivory has like these undertones of like warm colors that will like bring the tones out in your skin that will complement your makeup and your photography. And so, you know, I always think, I was like, don't be scared to have color. Now, unless you are of certain religions, and actually I've learned a lot more about this. Every August we go to Vegas. Vegas has this huge wedding expose of like all the designers, and it's nothing but like 6 days of ivory and white. It's insane. And so I didn't realize that there are actual bridal stores out there who only cater to like the Mormon church, to Quakers, to, you know, Catholics, certain churches, because certain churches only allow you to wear certain patterns within their church and certain colors. So, you know, you have to have like your décolleté completely covered. Your arms have to be completely covered. Like, there are just certain rules to each church of what kind of gown you can wear. And I've worked with a lot of girls who are getting married in traditional Catholic churches, where they're like, I had one bride tell me, she's like, okay, this is really hard because I have to be like church in the front, but hoe in the back. And I'm like, well, let's see what we can do. You know, like, and some churches have to give permission for you to wear certain dresses within their, especially in the Catholic church, like within the church. I never knew these things.
No.
So for those girls who have traditional religions and stuff, absolutely 100%, like, not even to like, I don't want them to feel like I'm making fun of that, but like, that is also always very respected, and we do gowns for that.
Okay, so the recommendation is no white, but also if that's what your religious tradition requires or you like it, cool. Crystal will find something beautiful just for you. Just to be clear about the services that you offer, Crystal, like, I mean, we're using bride, we're using women, you know, we're using girls, we're using all that, but like, what do you offer for folks that are non-binary or whatever as part of this non-traditional group? Right.
Really, whatever they, you know, so here's the thing. Right now where we are at is we do pantsuits. We also do jumpers. That's something that somebody's wanting. But really, we do cater to everybody. It's not, I mean, we don't discriminate. You know, I have a gentleman who does couture suits. Some women don't want to wear a dress. They want to wear a pantsuit, you know? So it's like, they like the jumpsuit idea. I'm putting a beautiful ball gown over it and then having to take that off and have a pantsuit for the evening. Like, how rad is that? You know, those things are always fun too, because it's like, everybody should be who they are for their wedding. Should, your dress or pantsuit or tux or whatever it is you're having made for you or that you're purchasing, like, it should be exactly what your personality is. it's kind of an interesting thing because our big shows that we're going to, like in Vegas and stuff, they don't always have a lot of that stuff. So it's something that within this industry is going to have to change. And I see the change of it coming, probably not as fast as many people would like to see it happening. But like for Megan, I mean, Megan has made so many outfits for people who are non-binary and who are gay couples. You know, we've had quite a few, and actually it's really sweet. A lot of them have black dresses or, you know, certain colors that go with what they identify with. You know, we can match those colors. So we have veils that we have like a full LGBTQ veil that's like all 4 sea crystals of the pride flag.
Yeah.
You know, just like different things. We always are trying to figure out like the next step of what's going to be inclusive to everybody. Some of our simpler satin gowns, because they come in like the soft baby pink and the soft baby blue, they were used for a fashion show for the trans community. You know, so like it's a transition that's happening. We're trying to make it happen faster.
Crystal and her designer work hard to find or create what your heart desires. But to be inclusive, she's working against many norms in the fashion and wedding industry. What I didn't know is that things like suits and jumpsuits are much more difficult and more expensive to create than a wedding dress. And this leads to additional inequity that Crystal is trying to avoid.
What we are finding that's so difficult to do is to make certain prototypes of jumpsuits. Jumpsuits, for whatever reason, tend to be a little more detailed than the dresses because there's a lot more detail to like the suits. Megan's really good at it, but it's one of those things where it takes a lot more time to produce it.
Right.
So the price points for jumpsuits supersede what a dress is.
Right.
You know, it's that whole thing of budget. I'm trying to find something that's going to be sustainable for both my store and for the client because, you know, a lot of people aren't going to want to spend $4,000 or $5,000 on a suit, which is what sometimes that can kind of get into because there's so many measurements and tedious things that go into making like jackets and pants and, you know, all of these little things.
Right.
And so a lot of it's not standard measurements to obviously men because things have changed. So it's kind of like trying to figure out now how to make that perfect couture suit for a non-binary person.
Right.
That stays within a budget that is reasonable for them to purchase it.
Right, dude. That's
the trick.
Really hard. We talked more options, making the silhouette accommodate different body types, so even gowns are a more inclusive option. And we talked about the changing styles within suiting, like a slimmer pant.
So like, for instance, like going back to Love is Blind, one of the designers that I've worked for years, his name is Thor. He designed the suit that was worn in the reunion for, it's that couple, Tiffany, I think?
Tiffany and Brett, yes.
Brett, yes.
Yes.
So he designed Brett's suit. He's from Portland. Thor is like the most amazing couture suit designer for both men and women.
Crystal is exploring partnerships with additional suit designers within her overall service and quality vision.
And I am very meticulous in the way that I do things. I want people to remember not just the experience, but like the quality of what they've received from us. So I want to make sure that that their situation is held with a lot of respect and not like, we're just making a lot of money off of people who are non-binary or, you know, like we just tapped into it just to make the money quickly.
Right.
I don't want
and also like it's not their fault that they're non-binary and like fashion isn't made for them. That's fashion's fault. So they should not be charged more money, right?
No. Well, and the thing is that, you know, so that's an interesting thing because in saying that
leads us to another related issue, women's sizing.
The most unfavorable thing to me in wedding gowns is the sizing. Sizing is ridiculous. It's all done in UK sizing, which if you are an American size 8, it puts you in a UK size 10 or 12. So right there, that to me is always a problem because women by nature are always going to have some kind of like hang-ups on their bodies, right? Because
we don't like that. Don't size us up.
No. That in itself is something that I feel within our industry needs to change. Now, I think the one reason why it doesn't all the time is because a lot of these larger named designers obviously are using factories. So most of those factories are located in like China, UK. So I don't think that part of it's ever going to change. But what was frustrating to me was then these other designers, kind of like anything after a 12 is considered full figure. So they charge you for being a larger size. Per size.
Nope.
I mean, first off, when I have a bride in my store and I'm doing her measurements, that's always a very uncomfortable thing for most women. Most of my brides, because we're all friendly, like, I'm not judging you about what your bust, waist, or hip size is. Sizes to me don't matter. But I know how uncomfortable it is as a woman to have to stand there and have somebody measure you and then hear all the numbers that come afterwards, right? Like, oh.
Yeah.
But then to have to tell somebody, like, okay, I can have this designer make you your dress. However, because you're considered this size and that's considered a full figure, it's going to be an additional this much to make this dress for you.
So gross.
With my designer, when she's, and her and I talked about it, and she's like, honestly, don't you think that's kind of bullshit? I'm like, it is. So then with her, we figured out what's the most cost-effective way that we can create a gown for somebody, even if they're, say, a size 20, but not charge them $200 for each size.
Right.
Like, that's absurd. That now, that to me, that's price gouging. And then, so we do trunk shows. I was sent what was considered a curvy line with one of my other designers. And I had to tell the person, like, I really dislike your curvy line. Like, who's designing this? This is ugly. And she was like, oh. And I thought, just because you're, like, full figured, just because you are considered curvy, I don't know who's coming up with all these names, but it's really quite frustrating too. But you have to wear, like, I mean, one of the dresses actually looked like there was a built-in, like, over-the-shoulder boulder holder bra in it. Like, I was like, this is so ugly. Like, who am I supposed to sell this to? Who's wearing this? No one can tell me someone's paying $1,800 to $2,500 for this dress. This is absurd. I can't do it. Because I am honest about things. I can't let you walk out of my store and let you tell somebody, like, I got this at a Little of Bridal. It's like, no, you didn't. Don't ever tell anybody I sold you that dress. Like, I don't want that on my shoulders. So Megan, like, make sure that I have gowns in house that are for my beautiful brides who aren't the customary size 8 or 10. That they can try on and that we will create for them without price gouging them because they just happen to not be a size that society is like.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. There are not any easy solutions for Alterna-Brides. Those who have a creative vision for their look or those whom current fashion practices exclude. But all humans, in all body sizes and shapes, celebrating the family structure they're committing to, deserve to look and feel their best. If you're looking for wedding attire, check out the small businesses in your area. They can really cater to your needs. Here's one such women-owned business, Crystals.
So we are a Little Love Bridal in Cambria. We are the only bridal store in Cambria. So it's pretty easy. So we have a website, I have an Instagram, and people can message me. My phone number's on there. People are welcome to call me or text me. However it is that they're comfortable with reaching out. And we do 3-hour private shopping experience appointments that are catered. We have champagne, juice, sandwiches, things like that. They can bring up to 7 to 10 people for parties. And they get 3 hours to come in, try gowns on, and enjoy time with, like, their family and friends. And children if they need their children.
Yay! Okay, a Little Love Bridal.
By the sea.
By the sea. A Little Love Bridal by the sea. I love it.
Yeah.